Okay, this is another strong impression coming in that I wish to share. It's Friday, January 25th. So, what I see is the Trump dynasty. I see Trump, Ivanka, Jared, Don, and Eric. I see all of them. And I see associates with these people, and I see also people in the White House, all being rocked as if there was an explosion. That's how powerful this is. It came in like shock, like an explosion, like an earthquake. And they experienced a massive ripple running through them. And they were running through details of things that they could remember that were obstructing justice or outright lies or things that could be very gray and could be interpreted by others as being criminal. These people have the ripple running through them of fear now. It's like a wave. It went up the body and out the head and exploded out. They're in protection mode. They're in defense mode. The thing that they want to do more than anything is save their empire, go back to what was. The regret here, the regret of having made certain choices, it's enormous. They realize that if they hadn't made this political detour, which they saw in a very opportunistic way, this whole dynasty, that if they hadn't made this political detour, I see them literally holding their heads like this. They look like wailing and moaning right out of biblical times. If they hadn't made that detour, they would have gone on with their lives just as they had, in a very comfortable way, at least according to themselves, raking in modest amounts of profits and working for them, albeit illegally working for them, manipulating things, pulling strings, making payoffs to officials, using loopholes in the law that get quite distorted so that they could see their agendas propelled. They are really seeing a ray of hope, a ray of defeat, and like a hammock in the middle, I see the webbing holding them all in this gray hammock, and it swings back and forth over a huge abyss. It's like two mountains in the hammock. Their positive feeling, their negative feeling holds them, and they're struggling in the middle of this hammock, and they're afraid they're going to tumble over in an abyss, and it is justified. This feeling is absolutely justified. They are going to be, they see the walls coming in. They're in a lobby or a corridor of like Trump Tower, and they see the walls beginning to inch in and move in. And their only way is jump in the elevators and go up, because the lobby, the foundation of the building is closing in. And maybe if they move up to the top floors and look out over the distance, or the feeling is, I want to escape. I want to get the heck out of here. I want to get out of Dodge. That's the first thing that comes in. But they can't. Can they fly? No, they can't jump out a window and fly. So they're trying to, I see them sitting in a living room with all this gold all around them. They're talking on their telephones, they're conference calling. They're trying to get advice, although nobody around them they trust at this point. Because the people that have been trusted, that they have worked with in the past, are under indictment or sitting in jail. Oh my gosh. They really feel they are next. This is a real strong probability, and this has entered into their consciousness this week powerfully. And I do have compassion for them. Even a rat in a corner, when a rat dog is going after the rat because that's its job, the rat dog is trained on a farm to catch a rat, and it'll go in the hayloft and it'll find the rat and it'll get the rat and it'll bite into the neck and it'll grab the rat, and the rat is destroyed. It's disintegrated. It's burned. It's tossed into a garbage. Its neck is broken. The dog, that's the dog's job, is to help the farmer bring in the crops, to maintain the farm and to keep the rats from destroying the grain by defecating in it, by eating it, by breeding in it. And this analogy that I'm seeing is like Mueller and other. Listen, I have to tell you something else here. There is another level of government going on here. They're coming in powerfully. They are sitting, it's like they're sitting in an amphitheater in the 1890s when they watched the surgeons do the surgery and they were learning. They are sitting high up in a circle watching what's happening in our government. And they are observing, and they are the ones that pull the strings. They know exactly what's going on. They have known exactly what's going on. They have the technology to know what's going on. I see them with tiny devices pointing at rooms. I don't care where the room is. It could be a Russian meeting with Putin. It could be an Oval Office meeting with White House staff. It could be in Trump Tower with Ivanka, Jared, and Don and all these people. It doesn't matter where it is. This device they have, this technology they have, they hear everything. They know everything. It can pick up recordings and pinpoint them past 10 miles. They're showing me this technology. These people, everything they have done is known. And these powerful individuals behind the scenes who are really pulling the strings here are watching what's going on, and they're watching the media tear everything apart like a gladiatorial performance in the Colosseum where the two gladiators, these are the media stations, they fight each other and battle with each other and cause bleeding and death, and necks are cut, and they struggle and they straggle all over the field, and they drop, and the crowds are cheering. They watch this circus that Americans are involved with, blindly involved with. They believe what they see on these stations, and they take sides on these radio stations and television stations, and they believe it, and the people that are delivering the material are believing it. But the whole thing is being orchestrated behind the scenes and being watched very carefully. It's like master puppeteers are watching as they leak something, or they cause a problem to occur, or a glitch to occur. This is an amazing thing to see. They're in the dark, they're way up high, they are completely unknown, and they are watching this drama play out. And these individuals in the Trump dynasty, they have interacted through secondary and tertiary agents. That means like people that aren't in direct contact with these extremely powerful people. They're 2, 3, 4, 5 times removed from their identities being exposed. And the Trump family senses all of their power, senses that they exist, and has secretly striven to become a part of that world. And this, my friends, is the invisible world that will now be exposed. This is enormous. This dynamic, and believe me, these people up here in the very, very high positions that they are, looking down into the center as the operations are being performed and the intricacies of the surgeries are being performed, and the ethers being applied to drug people and knock people out and remove them and bring in the next victim and put them down on the table. They are watching this. They are next. They feel safe now. But I tell you that their positions will not be safe in the years to come. No siree, Bob. I see a crumbling of the pillars that are holding up the theater. They look like altar pews in a circle. The actual spiral staircases that go up there and the pillars that hold up this structure are beginning to be eaten by termites. and the termites are moving up the pillars and eating and gnawing and eating, and they are systematically beginning to degrade the whole theater of power, I will call it, the theater of power, the thing that is actually going on in this world. And listen, I'm not saying this to be alarming and upsetting. This is the natural outflow of the thing that I'm doing right now, speaking on the internet, speaking about what I see, talking about what the visions are that are coming into me. This is the natural outflow of this kind of phenomena. I'm connecting on my internet, on my web, to share my information, to expand what my mind can understand, what the visions are that I can see, that I can put them out there into the world, and other people can tune into them. They can get their own visions, their own impressions, their instincts, their ideas about what kind of choices they want to make for their future. This is actually an extremely powerful time when one can understand that the fear that they're feeling doesn't, in their bellies, okay, the fear, the upsetment, and I experienced that, the discouragement, the negativity, that I don't have to sit with that forever, that I can take it and I can put it aside, and what I can do with it is continue to make choices in my life that empower me, that empower my family, that empower my friends, my neighbors, my world, even my politicians. I don't degrade them and discount them. I see they have agendas. Like at the beginning I said, the rat dogs, they have their part, and the rats, they're doing their thing. They've been here forever on this planet. These rats as a species are the oldest, along with cockroaches, another very unpleasant kind of image that most of us know about. They are the longest living, most versatile, most interesting creatures on this planet, but they have their place. And it isn't insinuating themselves or pushing themselves into these positions where they destroy the food supply, where they breed in the food supply and try to control it all for themselves. They have a natural place in nature where they can exist happily in balance. And that's the way I see everything that's coming and changing. Now, this whole process, it's not happening in a week or 2 or 6 months or a year. This process will unfold over time in stages very gently. And I'm going to be happy to share whatever I see in terms of what's coming. But these initial birth pains, they're just so shocking to us. I mean, they're devastating because they're the first inkling we have that things are really not good. They're poisoned. They are going to trickle down to us and create a situation in our being, in our bodies, in our communities, in our world, in our economics, in our social interactions that poison us, that do not nurture us and uplift us. And it's the feeling I'm seeing here is very much like the Black Death. We do not have to repeat that same kind of pattern. We do not have to recreate this wiping out of humanity so that fresh, young economic social systems can come in. Briefly, I'll just explain that what happened with the Black Death, when 2/3 of people are wiped out, the power people lost their power and wealth, just like the poor servants did. And what happened was the serfs eventually were able to take over these states and bring themselves up economically. And there's a reason this image is coming in, the Black Death and all this, is because that's what we're going through right now. A resurgence of people that have been disempowered. They are coming forward, they are connecting, they are doing what I'm doing. And thank you very much for listening to this. On the contrary, it's not negative, it's quite inspiring and encouraging. So thank you very much.